All right. My honorable white men from America are Pat Connaughton. He's getting 5 points a game now, so he did not make the list. I know there's a few Pat Connaughton stands out there. If you got an argument for why Pat Connaughton should be one of the top 10 white Americans in the NBA, I'd love to hear it. I would love to hear it. I'll read it. I promise. I read all these comments. I reply to all these comments. There aren't too many of them. Well, there's a decent amount, but I feel like disrespectful if I don't comment back to people because there's not that many comments. Like if it's a short, I'll like the comment. I'll do a little heart. But if it's a comment on the long video, dude, I'll reply. I'll give you 2 sentences back on why Pat Connaughton actually isn't as good as you think he is. I'll do it. Luke Kennard is good, though. Luke Kennard getting 9 points a game. Not terrible. A little pop quiz. This is if you're a real sicko. This is if you have too much time on your hands. Luke Kennard, what team is he on? He's on the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know exactly how he got there. I'm not sure. I don't know if he signed in free agency. Do you know? That's the real sicko. That's the twisted sicko that needs to needs to do a little bit of weeding outside. Needs to do a little nice landscaping job for their mother. Needs to breathe some fresh air. If you know exactly how Luke Kennard got to be an Atlanta Hawk. But he's a good player. 9 points a game. I think he's still shooting 40% from 3. I wrote it down. 43% from 3. Luke Kennard. We love a white guy that can shoot. So he's still in the league. Then we got Grady Dick. My observation about Grady Dick is he's getting a lot of points per game. Oh, she messed up when I was putting her. She can't see, so I got to use both hands. So Grady Dick gets 14 points per game. 14.4 points per game. But what I did notice is he doesn't really do much else. He's in like the 3s and 2s with rebounds and assists. So he's getting his points. Toronto Raptors fans, what do y'all think of him? Are you high on him? He doesn't have a particularly great shooting percentage, but man, 14.4 points per game. I believe this is his 2nd season in the league. I don't mind it. Honorable mentioned. Then Matas Buzelis. Not a rookie of the year contender when he got there, but kind of decent. I think we wanted a little bit better season from him from his 2nd year in the league, but Bulls fans, you gotta take every piece of fruit that falls from the tree that doesn't have a bruise on it as a gift from God. So Buzelis on my HM. And then I threw Cooper Flagg in here just because we're so hopeful. I mean, when was the last time we had a American white guy as the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft? I literally don't know. Who was it? Let me hear it. This is how you do it. You bait for engagement. That's what's going on here. You know how every YouTuber will say, leave a comment. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. It's like, you ain't gonna, it's always like Drew Gooden or not Drew Gooden. He wouldn't do that. But it's like Big Think Podcast or, the Plain Bagel. He'll say, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, you don't give a shit. You don't care what we think. You're the expert on personal finance. Why are you asking us what we think? Because you want engagement. I get it. Speaking of engagement, now's a good time to tell you about the Patreon, nice and early. That's the real fun stuff. I like doing this, but the real fun stuff is the Patreon, because I get to talk about whatever I want. On this channel, I gotta trick you into watching with a little top 10. Everybody likes a top 10. We all learned from BuzzFeed that the best way to make the medicine go down is a little bit of sugar, a little bit of top 10, a little bit of countdown. Because as it gets closer, you're like, oh, who's it going to be? Who's number 1? It's fun. It's enjoyable. So TJ Connell is my number 10. I put him at the very bottom of my list, but he did make the list. He was not an honorable mention. Mainly because he had a great playoffs, man. 23 playoff games. Played 17.5 minutes per game. You know, he was out there. And then next season, dude, is McConnell going to start next season with Halliburton now? It's crazy when you watch. And this is what I've noticed with a couple of these different guys. For some reason, this is a common trait amongst white guards, is when you get them out on the floor and you cut up a nice little mixtape for them, they can look like Steve Nash. They can look like Jason Kidd. They can look good. But the question everyone asks is, can they do it for a long period of time? Which sort of was the case with TJ McConnell. As Halliburton went out in game 4, or, you know, even when he was weakened and we got a lot of TJ McConnell, what we noticed is, man, we can't have him out there long periods of time. But for a brief moment of time as a sixth man, God damn, he looks good. So, can TJ McConnell get taller? Is he working on his height this offseason? That's the question. Is he medieval torturing himself to make himself a little bit longer? Are they breaking his shins this offseason to extend them? Give him an extra 4 inches. Did you guys see Materialists? What a weird movie. Pedro Pascal's character, like, the big plot turn in the movie is that he got this shin surgery to make him tall. And that's how he got pussy, from 4 inches more shin. But the question is, did he become more attractive because he was taller, or did the shins give him more confidence? It was because he was 4 inches taller. Is TJ McConnell going to get some materialist shin surgery? Probably not. But he looks good, and he's got a nice little mid-range game. I wish he would shoot more threes. He can't get taller, but he can shoot more threes. Hopefully he does that. I'm excited about the more minutes that TJ McConnell is going to get, but he's definitely my number 10. This wasn't even hard for me. 9.1 points per game, and with the team success, I got to give it to my mans. And what else do I got? Yeah, he's starting. It's already in here. I already said all my notes from the top of the dome. We can move on. Brandin Podziemski, my hustle guy. Brandin Podziemski is the what Kuminga is not. Brandin Podziemski is sort of the perfect warrior. He is a little more grateful for the opportunity. He was the 19th pick overall out of Santa Clara. Not a big school. Shout out Steve Nash for the second time in this podcast. But he's out there. He's taking charges. He's fast. He's hustling. He's cutting off passing lanes. And that's very valuable. Also, he's getting 11.7 points per game. His scoring is moving up. I could see Brandin Podziemski being most improved player if he gets more. I don't know. Of course, we got Jimmy Butler on the team, and it's sort of hard, because usually when we're looking at a most improved player, we're kind of looking at a first-time All-Star, typically, aren't we? I always assume that it's always going to be like the first-time All-Star becomes, or first-time All-NBA player. That should be the thing. If you make All-NBA for the first time, you should be able to get MIP, because it always feels, that's when the players feel disrespected, is when they win MIP but they also make All-NBA. For whatever reason, it feels a little bit insulting. I don't know why. Maybe because you're like, man, don't call this an unnatural progression. Or the MIP award always just feels a little bit disrespectful. It's always a little bit like, whoa, you? Damn, you did all that? You? Because I remember when you were, look at you now. Damn, you're all right. You can't tell someone, if someone does something, if someone is good at something, or they've improved at something, you say, wow, you're really good at that. You don't say, wow, you've improved a lot. It's just, because it's not even necessarily a compliment. It's just like, I'm not telling you how bad you used to be, but you used to be worse, is what you're saying. So, Brandin Podziemski seems like a guy that could win MIP next year, but take no offense if he also was an all-star. He's not going to be an all-star. There's just the Golden State Warriors are not good enough to have 3 all-stars. And if they have 2 all-stars, one of them is going to be Jimmy Butler. That's the way it's going to be. But he's a great Warriors player. He is a glue guy. He's in there. He does the dirty work. I like this guy. He's shooting pretty well from 3. 4.8 shots, 3-point shots a game at 37%. That's it. That's as good as you need to be from 3. I like this player. What are the downsides of him? His usage rating is going up. So when I was doing my research for this, I couldn't really find any downsides. But I do remember in the rare times that I root for the Warriors, I just never feel like Podziemski has the juice. But he's young. He's 21 years old. And he's the 9th best white American in the league. White American feels a little bit dicey to say. But that's the title of the episode. I have to say it. You know what's funny? Donte DiVincenzo, my dad's favorite player is Donte DiVincenzo. Because he has these green shoes. My family and I, we went to see the Milwaukee Bucks play the Minnesota Timberwolves. And DiVincenzo had a great game, and he was wearing these green shoes. And my dad really liked his game. If I asked my dad, hey, what do you think of Donte DiVincenzo? He'd say, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. And I said, remember the guy with the green shoes when we were in Milwaukee? He'd say, yeah, I like him. He's an excellent player. The weird thing is, he shouldn't be a 6th man. He should be a starter. When he was in New York, he was getting 15.5 points per game, shooting 40% from 3. He should be out there on the court starting. Now, is Nas going to start next year? Is Rudy going to start next year? These are the questions I'm kind of asking. This is a huge payroll, and I feel like Donte is underutilized, man. I think he shoots better when he's getting more playtime. That's what I'd like to see. Because he's a great wing defender, too. He's an excellent 3-and-D guy. I love him. We got to get him out there. He can create his own shot, too. People may think, yeah, he's sort of just like a spot-up shooter, huh? No. Bruh can dribble, man. Dribble with both hands. Can get to the rim. The only problem that I do notice, unless I'm thinking of a different player, let's check my notes. The only thing I do notice is he is always looking at the basket. And if I was a defender, that is something I would keep in mind. He can get to the basket, but he's just not really looking for the pass very often. If you watch most of his plays, like, he is not a particularly great passer. So if I was guarding him, I would sort of always keep that in mind, that he has tunnel vision toward the basket. So that is part of his game that I think he should work on. But again, you don't have to be good at everything in basketball. You can be good at most stuff and have a pretty great career and win a championship like Donte, our friend, has done. So, anything else we got on Donte? No, I covered it all. Caruso. Here was the tricky thing about Caruso. He has got dramatically lower minutes when he was in OKC. OKC picked him up to be a bit of a backup, which I wasn't thrilled about. I wonder what he thinks of that, because he was picked up, he won his 2nd championship in a little bit of a similar role. Actually, he probably got less time in Oklahoma City in the playoffs than he did while he was a Laker in the Maybe? I think so. I think I'm right about that. But shots a game. I don't know. I might have messed that up. But yeah, his 3-point volume, his percentage is down since being in Chicago. Of course, he is a 2-time all-defense. That's the best defender we have on our white man list. He guarded Jokic in the playoffs. You know what my real observation about that was? Because I did that undrafted. There's nothing in there but ice. I did that undrafted video right around the time during the finals, and I mentioned that Caruso had guarded Jokic, and people cussed me out. They cussed me out in the comments. They said he hacked him. He fouled him. He beat him up. And said swear words too. And people really were mad about that. So I ended up looking at those highlights today because there's a pretty solid reel of Caruso guarding Jokic, and they're not wrong. I got the clip in here. He does foul him, and I think the common consensus is, and I think this is true, it's because Jokic is so big and Alex Caruso is so small. So while he is hacking him, Jokic is trying to sort of play up the hack. And it looks funny. It looks a little silly because this little tiny guy, poking at this big guy, and the big guy's like, "Oh, unhand me. Oh, sir, officer." It's funny, So if you're a little guy, you sort of have that advantage that you can hack the big guy, because if he starts bitching about it, the ref's going to look at him and be like, "I think you're kind of being a pussy. I think you're kind of being a bitch about this." So that's the advantage you have as a small guy, is when you foul somebody, it doesn't look so bad. And that's the advantage Caruso has. So I'm kind of wondering, what's it going to be like for Caruso next season? I don't think he's going to start just because that team is so deep. But I will say his minutes went up significantly in the playoffs. I think he took some of Lou Dort's minutes. So I'm kind of curious what his role next season. I hope he gets more minutes, but of course I want Lou Dort to get minutes too. I like Lou Dort. So his 3-point shooting also went up in the playoffs. And what I did notice, and I'm sure all of you have noticed, guys' 3-point percentages in the playoffs go way down. Nobody can hit a 3. But Caruso, his went up. It's rare. That's rare. I don't want to say every time I look down on my notes, when I finish everything on the slide, I look down on my notes and say, "Do I got anything else on this?" Because I don't want to say that 10 times in a row. If I do something like that, if I do something embarrassing, like I say the same thing over and over again, you gotta call. You gotta make me feel bad about it. You gotta harass me. I'm not comment baiting. I'm not engagement baiting. You really gotta make me feel like shit about repeating the same phrases over and over. It's up to you. Otherwise, I'll do it. Okay. Walker Kessler. Man, I got real ambivalent about Walker Kessler when I was making this list, because I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's better than Rudy Gobert. He's a better player than Rudy Gobert. 5th in rebounds this year. Rudy probably had more. Incredible field goal percentage. With 11 points a game, that is good. He's doing the classic center rim protector thing. 2nd most blocks per game. Also one of the highest workloads of my white boys. He is an atrocious free throw shooter. Of course, Rudy Gobert does too. He can't shoot. And his team is ass. We have to keep in mind. Might just be a good stats, bad team guy. Also, did you know he's tall? So what we're really looking at here for Walker Kessler is what we need from him is to make an Ivica Zubac level leap next season. Can he do it? What does he need to do? Shoot, make his free throws, get a little bit of range, go away from the basket a little bit. Because he's fast. The thing is, he is fast. He's old school rim runner Rudy Gobert. Catches lobs. Zubac doesn't catch lobs. So he has the tools, but he has to, all you got to do is just learn how to shoot, man. Get a shot. Pick one. Pick like a jumper. Pick like a corner 3 or something. But pick one of those shots and make it your spot. Because he's pretty good in the pick and roll as well. He can dribble. He's not like Jonas Valanciunas, who just, if he's in the pick and roll and he gets they pass to the roll guy, he's like, I can't dribble. I'm not going to dribble the ball. Kessler can. He's got that confidence. So my man's got to learn how to shoot. That's my only problem with Walker Kessler. Do I got anything else here? Kidding. But no, I don't. Payton Pritchard. He's starting next year, and he's in that same sort of category as Podziemski, more so TJ McConnell. and a little bit of Donte DiVincenzo, where it's like, dude, if we give him a bigger workload, of course, he's already at 28 minutes a game. Really what we're going to be doing is we're going to give him a bigger workload in Boston because a lot of that team handles the ball. So if he's the starting point guard, he's really getting a lot of those Drew minutes. And if our point forward, Jason Tatum, isn't out there, what Payton Pritchard is going to have to do is be a little less Donte DiVincenzo style tunnel vision and look up and say, who's open? He's going to have to get used to that quite a bit. Because when he was going out there on the floor, it was like, man, I catch the ball, I'm going to shoot it. And even if I can't shoot it, I'm going to run. I'm going to run to the hoop. I'm going to dribble. Because I would say Pritchard and Podziemski sort of have a similar style where they like to dribble, but they don't like to slow the ball down. If they get it, they're going right to the hoop. If they can't get to the hoop, they'll pass it off. But if Payton Pritchard is going to be the starting point guard for the Boston Celtics, he has to work on his court awareness. So he's also small. He cannot defend larger guards. That ends up being a problem for him. So what do we think of Boston, chat? I'm really curious what this team's going to look like. Are they, because they're not the type to go full tank mode, and they've got a lot of good pieces on that team to be kind of decent. I think they're just going to be middle of the road, maybe playing, and see how they do. Give it a run. That's my theory on this team. I think they're fine playing Payton Pritchard as the starting point guard. I don't think they care. I think they're fine with it. Like, let's do it. See how it goes. Maybe it goes bad. Maybe it goes really well. Who gives a shit? We're not winning a championship. Christian Braun. Dude, it's so funny. You guys can probably relate to this, but if it's your team, I thought Christian Braun had a bad year. If it's your team, you're so frustrated all the time. You're so critical of your own team that you're like, dude, Christian Braun sucks. Dude, I thought he was going to develop. And then you look at his regular season stats and you're like, oh, he did develop. Oh my God, he shot 39% from three, 1.1 steals a game, 5.2 rebounds. Dude, he actually was good. What was I watching? Did I watch all of Christian Braun's bad games? And the truth is, I heard this on a podcast I was listening today, and they were saying you have a tendency to look at the negatives before you look at the positives. And they were saying it comes from our hunter-gatherer mentality, is you're always looking to defend yourself constantly, because it's more important to defend yourself than experience joy, because you might die if you don't look out for the negatives. Isn't that weird? I don't think that's true. There's too many scientists out now. I heard that and I was like, yeah, that seems true. And then I'm like, this guy's full of shit, dude. That's so dumb. But I bought it for a second. So I think I'm just a pessimist and sort of a overall miserable person. So that's why I didn't think Christian Braun was good. But he's actually really good. He's my fourth best white American player. He's an NBA champion. 58% field goal percentage. So what do we want from Christian Braun next year? Well, we probably want him to shoot more threes as the shooting guard. We would like that a little bit more. As the starting shooting guard for our team, we also, if he could handle the ball a little bit more, take a little bit off of Jamal Murray, I'd like that. He's fast, man. Tunnel vision guy, again. And he's also a guy that likes to get to the rim and dunk it hard. That's like his... Sometimes he'll dunk it really hard. You know what I'm talking about. He might be one of the best in-game dunkers in the league, because he'll dunk, he'll like crunch somebody against the rim. You know when people do that? When they just slam it home and the guy's hand just like gets jammed. I'm sure they have jammed fingers. They're the best dunks, but a lot of times I'm looking and I'm like, while he was winding up, while he was ready to assault the rim, there was like an open player where he could have just passed it off to. But a lot of the times he's like, I'm looking at the rim, man. And I'm kind of glad, because I'd rather watch a wild dunk than somebody pass it off right at the rim. There's more. There's so much more we can say about Christian Braun. Nope. I lied. I don't know why I even have these notes.
Chet Holmgren. Now, Chet had a season where he played 82 games. Okay. You can make the argument that he's durable, but this year he only played 32 games. I think he would have had the second most blocks. I think he would have counted for the second most blocks in the regular season, but he didn't play enough games for him to make that list. But he had the third most blocks in the playoffs. He's the king of the two-handed block, which I love to watch. I love his two-handed blocks. He's one of the only players that does it. It has to be incredibly effective. I respect it because I think a lot of guys put up one hand because they want to keep one hand down here so they can make sure nobody hits them in the balls. I think that's it. I think they're just trying to protect their nuts. But Chet Holmgren's like, I don't care. I don't care. Putting both hands up. Who needs nuts? And he shoots threes as a big man. He shoots 3.6 threes a game at 38%. Again, rare. Man, I think Holmgren might be an all-star next year. He just won a championship. A little bit weak on the rebounds. Of course, he has Isaiah Hartenstein there too. For a guy that's 7'2"? Is he only 7'1"? Is he as tall? Is he Walker Kessler, same height? I feel like Holmgren's either he's got a bigger wingspan or maybe he's just skinny so he looks taller. But you'd hope for a few more rebounds a game being as tall as he is. But, you know, we ain't nitpicking. You know, I'm just looking for something for him to improve upon. He doesn't need to get taller. He doesn't need to get materialist leg surgery. He doesn't need to get medieval tortured. And he can dribble too. So I think we're going to see Chet Holmgren, at least in the future, definitely a DPOY candidate. I'm one of these truthers that's like, hey, don't give the award to Wemby just yet. Because things happen. Remember, we all thought that Wemby was going to get the award last season. He did not. So, what I'm saying is, things aren't always as we expect. So, Austin Reaves, okay. Now, the offseason has been so long. It's been so long, and I've done so many slides with no new information. So, can I do another slide and talk about my beef with Austin Reaves for maybe the third or fourth time in the last 2 or 3 months? Should I do it? Should I talk about how Austin Reaves is the most wobbly player in the NBA? Sure, why not? Every shot Austin Reaves takes is an off-balance shot. Donte DiVincenzo, every shot he takes is an on-balance shot. He lines up, he shoots it, he's stable. Austin Reaves he's like a top or a dreidel. When it's spinning, you know when you spin it and it's getting toward the end? Because when it's spinning hot, when it's really going right at the beginning, it's pretty still. You can barely see it move. But Austin Reaves, he reminds me of a spinning top when it's right about to lose steam. You know, it's sort of like, oh, he's losing steam. I hope he gets the ball up before he loses steam and falls over. And he has to be the player that falls over the most. So, what I want Austin Reaves to do, Chet does not need to beef up. Whatever Chet has going on, it works for him. He is stable out there. He's coordinated. Don't pick up a dumbbell. Don't do a bench press, Chet Holmgren. Just stay skinny. It works. Austin Reaves needs to hit the squat rack. Okay? He needs to hit the squat rack. He needs to do some cleans. He needs to do some snatches. Mostly just stuff for his ass, dude. Ass, thighs, quads. He needs to learn how to stand strong. Call up Donte DiVincenzo and say, hey man, what's your leg routine? We should work out sometime. And then he also needs to talk to his teammate Dalton Connect and say, let me borrow your shoulder routine. How do you, what are you doing? Were you on the Smith press? Because he needs to learn how to create some space for himself with his shoulders rather than just like leaping backward. Of course, at the same time, what I am trying to say is Austin Reaves is really good and he's made some incredible strides in the NBA. So honestly, and he could be an all-star next year. My man's at 20 points a game. That's all-star territory. He could have been an all-star this year. People love the Lakers. It wouldn't have been wild. And he stays relatively healthy. There's just part of me that thinks, buy some protein powder, man. Do some, because he doesn't, and now this is where I'm getting into a little bit of, this is the territory, when you're about to say something and you know what you're getting into is something you shouldn't be talking about, but you're going to do it anyway and you're going to regret it. He doesn't have the body of an NBA player. He doesn't have an NBA body. He doesn't look right out there. I said it. He's soft. Man, look at the note. Look at the definition. I'm sure he's strong. I'm just saying a guy like this, all he has to do, hit the gym 4 times a week, and a guy like that, all of a sudden he's looking like Dalton Connect. But again, maybe I think it's entirely possible he thinks his secret is in he thinks he's gonna mess something up if he puts on an ounce of muscle mass. And you know what? He might be right. What do I know? All right, that's the body shaming part of the show. Well, let's see. No, Tyler Herro is a great body. We're not going to body shame him. We're going to leave him alone. Good for you, Tyler Herro. He's in the gym 4 times a week. So, the only player who's been an all-star on this list. 6th man of the year. You know what I think of Tyler Herro? Tyler Herro is going to become the player that Zach LaVine should have been. He's going to become a better passer of even flashier player than Zach LaVine. So he's going to have a passing element to his game that Zach LaVine never developed. And he's going to have a better spot-up game than Zach LaVine. But when you watch these two plays, Tyler Herro plays like a young Zach LaVine without the hops. He doesn't have the dunk ability of Zach LaVine. But they look very similar to me when they're out there. But I could be wrong. Maybe Tyler Herro becomes Zach LaVine. Maybe that's what happens with this guy. I will definitely tell you, though, if Tyler Herro is the best player on your team, that's not good. That's not a diss to Tyler Herro. My man's is good. But the Heat need to do something. And Bam Adebayo is not their best player. And I know. We all love Bam. He seems nice. And he's a great defender. Works hard. Heat culture. He's not the best player on that team. So, I like Herro. He's a good rebounder too. He plays hard. And he's actually pretty decent at defense. And he's definitely taken the crown as the supreme white. I ain't censoring that. I'm just going to leave that there. So, I think that's... No. Oh, man, I've just been blowing through my notes. We're done. The only thing on here was the Zach LaVine thing. And the white supreme thing. I'm kidding. It wasn't on here. Yeah, I really messed it up there at the end. So, there's a Patreon. Join the Patreon for $2 a month and get a weekly podcast. You heard right. That's a quarter a podcast. And if there's 4 Saturdays in the month, that's like 20 cents. 20 cents a podcast. They're always 40 minutes. They're always over 40 minutes. And this week we talked about more Kawhi Leonard stuff. I talked about Malik Beasley. I talked about the FTX scandal. I sort of shoehorned the main channel's topic into this week. So, thanks for being here. Be good to your mammies. Eat a corn dog.